Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about the New York Jets versus the LA Rams. But before we get started, just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out the podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Now let's talk about Thrive Fantasy. Come hashtag prop up on Thrive Fantasy this season. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. They have eliminated the need to do countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top tier athletes in a respective sport. Choose 10 out of 20 player prop options to build your lineup. Use promo code JETS20 when you sign up today, and you will receive an instant match bonus up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Play Store, or by visiting their website, thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. So let's jump into this one. We have the Rams, whose offense is ranked 18th in the league, versus the Jets, who are ranked 32nd. Defensively, a bigger difference than that, surprisingly. Rams defense is number 3 overall. Phenomenal defense led by Aaron Donald, who's leading the league in sacks with 12.5. And the Jets have 30th ranked defense in the NFL. Just fired their defensive coordinator a couple of weeks ago. Frank Bush took over and was underwhelming in his first assignment against the Seattle Seahawks. So good news for the tank, good news for the Rams, bad news if you're a Jets fan who is rooting for wins still for some reason. The Jets are atrocious on the road under Adam Gase specifically, but just over the last 17 games where the Jets have had to go on the West Coast specifically and play a game, they are 3-14. They very, very rarely ever win on the road. The last time that they have won a game out on the West Coast was in 2016 against an awful 49ers team. As for Adam Gase, as Jets head coach, he is just 2-12 on the road. Not the West Coast, just any road game. 2-12. Lost to the winless Miami Dolphins last year. Lost to the winless Bengals last year on the road. He doesn't win on the road. He has only beaten the Washington football team on the road last year and the Bills' third stringers in Week 17. Additionally, Sean McVay has extra time to prepare for this game. The Rams are coming off a pretty impressive win on Thursday Night Football from last week where they took on the New England Patriots. So he has a little bit of extra time to prepare for this Jets defense, which is going to be scary because McVay on his own is a very good coach, as we understand. But with even more time and you look at this depleted secondary, that's not going to be great. When looking at this matchup, another thing that stands out to me is the defensive line and specifically the pass rush of the Rams. They are top 5 in quarterback sacks, and they have Aaron Donald, who wreaks havoc as a defensive tackle. Now, if you look at the Jets' offensive line, their weak spot is on the interior, especially at the 2 guard positions. On the outside, with Fant on one side and Mekhi Becton on the other, they've been pretty solid, but in the middle of that line has struggled. And well, as you know, Aaron Donald plays in the middle of a defense, so that's a little bit scary with him getting after the quarterback. It's something to look for, and I absolutely believe he put Sam Darnold on his back at least once this upcoming week. Flipping back to the offense for a second, Jared Goff is averaging 270 yards passing per game. I expect them to throw a lot. One, because the Jets secondary just isn't very good right now. Bless Austin on the outside hasn't been good in coverage. Bryce Hall's a rookie. Lamar Jackson is an undrafted free agent rookie. It's going to be rough in that secondary, that's for sure. And if you look at the Rams running back situation, it's a running back by committee. That they're pretty split, so I don't expect to see a ton of running because that's usually where the Jets' strength is on defense, is that stout interior with guys like Henry Anderson, who's pretty good against the run. I'll give him that. Quinnen Williams, normally Foley Fatukasi, who won't be playing because he's on the COVID list. So while the Jets' strength is the run defense, I don't expect the Rams to play into that. I expect them to try to spread the Jets out and throw the ball with their wide receivers, who are pretty solid, no doubt about it. And their quarterback, while not a super elite level quarterback, can survive in spreading you out and throwing the ball in the Sean McVay system. As for Sam Darnold, he's coming off a really rough week the last time out against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't, unfortunately, expect it to be a lot better. I say he goes 14 of 28 for 50% completion percentage, 155 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I'll say Jalen Ramsey picks him off. I don't expect him to perform well on the road. Yes, it's in a dome. Yes, the conditions are going to be absolutely perfect. But when you look at that defense that the Rams have, It's a really solid one, and I just don't expect Gase and Darnold to come up with anything really to get this offense going, especially, as I said, on the road, which they've been putrid on the entire year. Their only game that was relatively close this year that they played on the road was against the Chargers, where they lost by 6 or 8 points. Forgive me for not remembering off the top of my head, but all the other ones have been by double digits, and I expect this one to get pretty ugly. Denzel Mims is expected to return, which is a good sign. I think he'll have 4 catches for 41 yards. No, unfortunately, I don't think he scores his first NFL touchdown just yet because, well, I don't expect Sam to throw one. Maybe in that Browns game he'll get one at home, but for now, unfortunately, I think Mims is going to be, more of the same, where we're looking for him to get more targets, but unfortunately, I just don't think he is going to get them right now. Just 3 more games. That's all we have to get through, and then this Adam Gase, Sam Darnold struggling at the quarterback position hopefully is going to come to an end very soon, and the Jets, specifically at the wide receivers positions and their young guys, could take that next step in developing. As I mentioned, no Folu Fadakasi, but he's not the only one. Jordan Jenkins is done for the year and likely is done with the Jets. He was a nice find in the mid-rounds in the 2016 draft, was a solid edge player. He's not necessarily someone who's going to be a pass rusher, so to speak, although he did have 8 sacks last year. He's more of an edge setter, a Calvin Pace light kind of player. So he was good, and I don't think they're going to bring him back. I really don't. I think they try to get younger and faster on the edge, which I'm definitely not opposed to. And something else I do expect to see is Frank Gore coming back, and I do think he'll play and get a lot of carries. Michael P. Ryan's supposed to he came off of injured reserve, but I don't know how much they're going to give him the ball. So don't necessarily look for him to be a bell cow this week as much as we might like or prefer to see him and the other running backs like Adams and Johnson. I think we'll get about 15 Frank Gore runs, which is bad for the future, but good for the tank. So I guess you take that or you sign up for it. All right, so predictions time. We'll start with me. I am 12-1 with my predictions, and I am predicting the Rams win 34-6. I expect this to be a blowout. Yes, I think the Rams cover that 17-point spread, or 17.5, depending on where you get it. I really don't think this game's going to be close. Like I said, I think the Rams offense is going to expose this weak Jets secondary. We saw last week with a more conservative Frank Bush not sending pressure, and the Russell Wilson just standing in the pocket all day long, having all day to throw and picking apart this defense. I think we see something similar. Now let's check in with Casey, see who she likes in this game. Oh, not good. Casey's picking the Jets. She is 8-5 in her selections. Maybe they pull an upset. I'd be extremely, extremely, extremely shocked if that were the case. But like I said earlier in this video, only 3 more games to go. It's been a really long season, but we're getting through this together. And that's it, really. Like, there's not a whole lot else you can say about this. We're running out the clock. There are 3 more games left of suffering, and then hopefully it's going to be a lot more fun in the offseason, usually with free agency, and the Jets have a ton of cap space this year. The draft and having potentially the first overall pick, at worst the second pick. Cross your fingers for the first pick. It's going to make for an exciting offseason, so just a couple more weeks of suffering, and then we'll get through this together. But thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. I'm Matt O'Leary. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.